To welcome everybody, welcome you all today to Office Hours, Helping Transition Age Youth Overcome Barriers Through Travel Training. I'm Catherine Newman, Training and Technical Assistant Specialist with the National Aging and Disability Transportation Center. I'd also like to introduce Mia Lewis, NADTC's summer intern, and Jane Mahoney, who is also a Training and Technical Assistant Specialist with NADTC. Mia and Jane will be helping us to monitor the chat box and attendee participation today. Before we get started, I'm going to go through a few housekeeping items. While I'm doing that, if you could please introduce yourselves by putting your name and organization in the chat. If you could, all participants should be muted. I don't think that it's automatically done, so if you could do that, that would be great. The session is being recorded and materials will be available to you all on the NADTC website. Closed captioning is available. You can turn that on by clicking the CC button in the bottom right corner of your screen. The session is meant to be interactive. If possible, please leave your camera on. There'll be a short video at the beginning of the session, and then we're going to jump right into discussion. Because this meeting is designed to be interactive, we encourage you to ask questions or to share your experiences through the chat or by raising your hand. A quick NADTC background. NADTC is a partnership between Easterseals and U.S. Aging, and we are funded by the Federal Transit Administration. Our overall mission is to promote the availability of accessible transportation options that serve the needs of older adults, people with disabilities, caregivers, and communities. And we do that through several of our objectives. We provide person-centered technical assistance that you can contact us through our toll-free number at 866-932-3222 or our email at contact@nadtc.org. And we also provide a variety of resources on transportation-related issues. We provide training opportunities through our webinars, conference workshops, meetings, and online courses. We use a variety of communication channels for outreach to the public, such as our social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and monthly e-alerts, newsletters, and blogs. We also invest in community solutions by awarding grants to programs looking to develop innovative models to increase availability of transportation options for older adults and people with disabilities. Our speaker today is Keith Fox, a transitions coordinator for Easterseals Crossroads Project Search Program. For 19 years now, he's been doing that. Easterseals Crossroads began in the 1930s with a few volunteers and has grown to be Indianapolis's most comprehensive service provider for people with disabilities. Project Search is a program that provides employment and education opportunities for high school students. And we're going to show you a quick video to introduce that Project Search program.
Project Search is a one-year high school transition program for individuals with significant disabilities.
I think if people ask me, what is Project Search and what do you think about it? It's a program that I've been around for a long time and it works.
It's about learning independence and it's about learning to do things for yourself.
The students come here to learn about vocational skills and also more independent living because their main goal is to get paid employment at the end.
A normal day in Project Search, the students ride the city bus, most of them ride the city bus to get here. During the summer we train them so they know how to get from their home to the hospital.
That is why we're here. So
class starts about 8 o'clock and they have about 45 minutes to 60 minutes of class. And we talk about job skills, money skills, health and nutrition. We train every student on the rotations, and we are with them until they feel that they are comfortable independently.
And then where you find it is right here.
It's a very normal environment, and so we want to make sure that that's very seamless with our interns, that they're just part of the culture, they're part of the team, they're no different than you or I, and they can do it.
Our ultimate end goal is for them to take the skills that they've learned at Project Search on the job, in the classroom, and be able to utilize those and get a job.
At graduation, it always makes me cry, but to see the pride in their eyes of where they started and where they've come from.
When our Project Search interns are here, I tend to have just a better day.
Good afternoon, Keith. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So Keith and I have been having conversations for a while now about some of his the transition services that he's provided, and he has some great ideas and things that he's done in the past, and we're just going to have a conversation with him. So I wanted to start off, Keith, by asking you, you've been providing travel training for many years now, and in your experience, at what point would you begin travel training students?
Well, we definitely start by the time they enter high school. So we're looking at their freshman year. And then individual students are usually with other staff throughout their high school years until they're about their senior year. And then we start transitioning so they're more independent. Here in Indianapolis, a lot of our students actually have been trained, and our school districts are actually leaning away from the school bus at the high school level and really gearing their families and the students towards public transportation. So that's really helped facilitate that whole learning process with individuals with disabilities as well.
Wonderful. What community organizations have you partnered with for your travel training opportunities?
We do a lot of partnering with our local school districts here in Indianapolis. It could be the Indianapolis public schools as well as our township schools here locally in Indianapolis. We also have partnered with the Indianapolis IUPUI here in Indianapolis. There's another transition program down on the college campus that is really high on public transportation training for their students as well. So we all just kind of partner together to help assist our individuals with disabilities and their students and their families on public transportation and training. Vocational rehabilitation is a big partner. And then, of course, our businesses, like for Project Search here in Indianapolis, it's our community health network. And then Easterseals, Crossroads, of course.
Of course. So out of all of those, which have you found to be the most successful out of all those partnerships?
Our schools really, to get the buy-in at the younger age, it's our schools and our parents. Because once they start seeing their individual loved one learning public transportation and feeling more comfortable with the whole process, walking from home to a bus stop, or in some situations, we have individuals who actually get dropped off at a bus stop just because of where they live. It really helps facilitate that whole learning process. And so when they leave high school, they're better prepared for the public transportation sector. They're better prepared for work. They can go visit family and friends and go do other things out in the community that without that opportunity or that training and level of independence, they just wouldn't be able to do.
And when you're working with the younger individuals with disabilities, do you find it difficult to get parent buy-in on using public transit?
Yes, we do. And that's expected. And and I actually would want that actually in a lot of ways. But I always invite, and I actually insist, if I could use those words, that our parents ride with us. I won't, when I'm training an individual with disability, the first 2 or 3 training sessions with that individual is that individual and myself. I need to see what they learn and how they learn and what they know and what they're obtaining and what they're keeping and they're learning in their toolbox. And so by the 3rd time or so, I invite the parents to ride with us. The parents can actually see what they've learned. They can actually feel the whole process unfold, but it also allows the families to understand that there's surveillance, the safety that goes on a public bus it's pretty significant. They have surveillance cameras on the outside of the bus. They have surveillance cameras in the bus. It's considered a safe place here in Indianapolis to be on public transportation. So once the families understand all that and see how I work with the individuals, and I work with the individuals that are on a bus route that they're being trained to go to a certain spot, that I introduce them to the bus drivers. So there's a big learning process, but there's a whole feel to it. The bus drivers are out there, and they're also got their safety as one of their number one priorities as well. So bus drivers get to know who the riders are, and the riders get to know who the bus driver is. And when one of our students, if they're on breaks, the bus drivers know that so and so is not there that day. So it works really, really well.
And that's so important. And I think that any of the attendees on will know that their drivers are very protective of their riders and care a lot about their well-being. What other tools do you use to increase the overall safety of those individuals, that you're training?
Well, with technology, we do utilize a lot of apps. The Transit app is a real popular app that I use. I have it on my phone. It's free. My Stop is another app. And these apps actually work in any city with there's public transportation. So when I travel, I'll use the Transit app because I support public transportation when I travel. And it'll actually walk me through step by step where to go, what way to turn, where's the bus stop, what bus number's coming, and how much longer do I got to wait for that bus. So it's really step by step. And then for some individuals that I use that with, I also utilize pictures. So while we're training, I take pictures of landmarks, take pictures of bus stops, take pictures of routes, all of those little things. And then I laminate it. I make it so it's the size of maybe a business card. And I actually laminate it so they can just kind of use like as a flip thing. And so, okay, there's card 1, there's card 2. So I utilize all those different tools to increase their overall learning. And some of the individuals I use, I make a card, gives them their first name and who to contact if there was a situation that they needed to call someone. The bus drivers all have phones, and they assist if that would ever be the need. So it works. And then I bring those tools, I start taking them away as they learn. A lot of individuals then after so long, they don't need those tools anymore. They've learned it, and they're ready to go.
And if anyone else has any tools that they use in their own program, please raise your hand or put it in the chat box so that we can share it with everybody. Because again, this is interactive and we want to hear from you also. We'd like to see what you have in your toolbox. So Keith, when you're training the younger age groups, what do you do to help them understand the public bus transportation system schedule? That isn't, because it isn't typically the same as a paratransit service. How do you help them to understand the schedule and how to schedule a ride, or if it's a fixed route, how to use that schedule?
So when here, and I'm sure every city that has public transportation on their website, when we're working with the individual, I'll sit down with the individual and we'll actually do a plan their trip. So it'll tell from where their address is, what time they need to actually leave their house to walk to the bus stop. Even if it's a mile walk, it will say, leave this such a time because it's a mile walk. Now, sometimes they get dropped off, but that allows us the time that we take to walk to the bus stop, what time that bus will be there. And then, like I said, on our phones, then I also have them do the transit app. So then they can, on the transit app, it will actually show you where the bus is en route and how much longer it's going to be before it gets to you. So that's a really good tool to use. And then, so yeah, a lot of it's more like safety, how to get from their house to the bus stop. So I have had individuals before that didn't know how to cross the street. So I had to teach them crosswalks and things like that in the city, and repetition, and don't give up. What I saw today on the first day of your bus trip training, what I see on maybe the 10th training is going to be totally different. So we all learn differently, and some people learn quicker than others. But I'm very patient with that. And I let them, my observations and them guide us on how much travel training is needed. So if crossing the street is part of it, then I know it's going to take a little longer to get them to become independent in that transportation piece. But I know that if they have the desire and I have the parents on board, they can do it. They can really do it, and they want to do it. The individual's self-esteem and self-confidence just is enormous when they know that they're actually taking public transportation to go to work or to do whatever else they want to do. And they're with their peers. They're with other people that ride the city bus just like they are. So
Right. So have you ever had an individual get on a wrong bus?
yes, and I let them get on the wrong bus because that's how we all learn. And I'm there, so I'd rather them make these mistakes while they're with me. But I let them get on the wrong bus. I let them figure things out. Like, I'll throw out there, does that look familiar? Have you seen that? Look at your card. You got a card. You got your picture cards. Look at that. And they'll bring them back out. And they go, oh, they'll realize, oh, I did something wrong. And I always let people know that you're not lost. When you're on a city bus, you're not lost. You're just on the wrong bus. So the buses make a complete circle. So eventually it will get back to where you got on at. So that's how I kind of train them is to, okay, we'll ride this all the way through and you'll get back off where you got on and then we'll figure it out. And they do. And you know what? Once they make that mistake once, they've learned and they don't make that mistake again. But it's important to allow them to make those mistakes while I'm training them. That way, when they are independent, we've already made that mistake. So we don't have to worry about it. I've gotten on a wrong bus years ago when I took public transportation. That was my form of transportation. So we all learn and we all make mistakes and we learn by our mistakes and we just kind of go with that. As well as we have the safety pieces in place, then it's a win-win. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. And I think that I don't know if you would agree or not, but I think that once parents get over the safety part of the aspect of their child using public transit and they realize that it is a safe place for them and a safe option, they are more open to it, and then they will help in getting that child moving and using the transportation service. Do you have any tips or suggestions for anyone that might be just wanting to approach a transit agency to partner with travel training opportunities or any sort of partnership with this type of program?
Like I said, I would reach out to your public transportation company in the city or the town that you're in that has public transportation. They do a lot with training people with disabilities and offer trainings, public transportation training. You could look at different agencies like Easterseals, Crossroads here in Indianapolis. You know, someone like me, I would be more than happy, and I enjoy working with other agencies on training staff on how to train people with disabilities, how to ride public transportation. So they would do that, I would think. I don't, your local universities a lot of times will have maybe OTs, occupational therapists are good with that. They're good with different tools as well. I know that IUPUI here in Indianapolis, Indiana University, their Institute on Disability and Community, a lot of major universities have that department within them. They're good with public transportation and coming up with ideas and tools and resources that may be available in your city or your town. And so I would always check into that because there's probably an organization or a company or university that would be willing to do this and they want to do it. They just don't know who to reach out to either. So together for the common good is actually, it's a good way of reaching out to people and getting things done. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And high schools typically have they provide transition service and education on transition services for their students. I was just wondering if anybody had any examples or any of our attendees had any examples of programs where their program partners with transition services in a school system, working with a special education teacher or an administrator. Just any examples for that they'd like to share?
Okay, I was trying to take my mute off. Hi everyone, my name is Tamara Banks. I'm with Healthy Generations. We just started our program here January. We work with, well, it started with one school. We literally just started in January, and now we're in pretty much all the schools in Stafford County here. And well, Fredericksburg only have one high school, so, and hopefully Spotsylvania will be coming on soon, and that's the 3 counties in our region. What I found is the kids, we work with the parents before we get to the kids, have been so much easier for us. And we work with the job coaches, we work with the assistant principals to get the kids out. And then we also do like where the parents can actually come into the school. So they'll get their travel training first. So this way they get to meet me, they get to meet the teachers, and we get the anxiety levels just down a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit, because their biggest fear is getting lost. And so taking them out first, then they can help the kids when they come home, because we give them like worksheets they have to make copies of their plans. So I'm learning how to organize it to where it's a little bit more simpler. But it seems like right now it's real complicated, but I want to make sure that everybody is comfortable, the teachers, the parents. And we also work with the school transportation also, because when we travel train them, they actually have to come out to our the main hub of our transportation company. Like I said, our program is really, really new. So this is all trial and error right now.
And Tamara, are you in an urban area, suburban, rural?
We just became small urban. So we have, I want to say maybe 20 bus routes for our whole region. Because we just the buses only service Stafford, Fredericksburg, and Spotsylvania. And we just started working with Project Search, and we just started working with, I think it's called Reach. Which is kind of like the same programs. We literally just started working with Project Search within the last like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and we already have someone that is graduating out of the school program and going into the search program. So our program is called Transition to Transit, and we catch them in like 10th grade, and we give them all the education needs, like not being afraid of the bus, actually physically seeing the bus, because a lot of these kids are either driven to school or been on a school bus, and we are very high in safety. That's my background, transportation safeties and securities. And it's actually been kind of fun. We also partner with the Marriott Hotel because they also learn a life skill while on the training. So when we take them out to do the bus training portion, they actually have to navigate from the bus stop to the hotel to the bistro, and they have to learn how to order their food. They get taught how to do gratuity and all those things like that. The lunches are only $6, so it's really cheap to go there. And they learn also the life skills and then how to navigate back to the bus. So that's been great working with the hotel.
Sounds like a wonderful program. Keith, is that something that Project Search did in your area also to help those students to be able to utilize public transit to learn other life skills?
Yeah, so the program is geared, like Tamara said, they do teach life skills at the hospital or in the business, budgeting and just hygiene and social skills, soft skills, in addition to public transportation. Some of that public transportation is how to act on a public bus. How
Right.
do you act on a bus? I mean, it's changing the mindset from a school bus to a public bus. So there's some things they have to learn that as well. So going at a younger age is actually good, and it's beneficial. Not only, once they're done with transition, let's say, they've learned a big piece of public transportation. So that allows them to be more independent and go do the things and work and get to work and not feel stressed out about or having that anxiety of a new bus route. So it's all really good. And so that's one thing nice about the transition program like Project Search. There's that classroom time. So they really learn a lot of different skills and team building skills and safety skills and all those different things that really prepare them for the working world and becoming more into the adult world. And as we all know, as we get out of high school into the aging, and then we get older and older, and things change. And so learning at a younger age really helps prepare people at all ages, regardless. So
Absolutely.
and I will add that a lot of our individuals that we work with on their phones, they actually do a tracking device, like a GPS device. So family members can actually track the individual while they're on a bus through, GPS and different tracking devices with their phones. I know some individuals, like the fire department here, for people with autism, especially, they have wristbands that they can wear. It's kind of like a smartwatch. And you can use that for tracking as well. So there's a lot of tools out there to help increase the overall safety of individuals. So
That's a great suggestion, Keith, as far as, a tool that you could actually introduce to parents. I'm sure that they know, find my phone or share your location if they have, other children in the household. But, that's a wonderful tool to have. And that would probably help them to feel more, have access to them if something were to happen, or be able to find them. Would you say that that travel training in a group is just as effective as one-on-one? I mean, I know that one-on-one, of course, is, ultimately what you would like to do. But in a group setting, say, for example, a special education class that you could go to, or, I don't know, a facility where there is a group of people versus the one-on-one?
I think a lot of that would depend on where they are in their transition plan. If they're going, to school, and they're meeting at the school, they're taking the school bus in the morning, and they're at school, and you're doing community based learning, then getting on the public bus from the school as a group, that makes total sense, because then they can help each other out too. So then you can talk about teamwork. You know, we're here to as a team, so we're going to help each other out. So and so needs a little bit more help. They, you know, their gait is off, and so they might need help in balancing or walking to and from, or you know, they're just there as a group and as a team, so they can kind of help each other out. And that's a good opportunity at the school level. I know when they get out of school, then you know you're learning it from their house. So what we've done is during the summer months, or now when I'm training people from their house, they don't know who everybody is yet until the project first day starts, and then, oh, look who's all on the same bus now. So now they're doing it as a group, but when we train them, because they were no longer in school because it was during the summer, it was more one-on-one. But they help each other out, you know, when they get to the program and they all realize they're all in the same program, they're all going to the same spot, then they become one big team and they help each other out. It's pretty cool to watch, actually.
It is. It is. One of the examples that we received before today's event is a partnership with school administration. It's the special education programs manager, and they shared marketing information with the administrator to share with parents who needed transportation to get to the schools for IEP meetings, special meetings, to pick up their children, anyone who is transit disadvantaged, in addition to trying to incorporate travel training into their transition services at the school system. That's a great way to partner with your school system, your local school system, just trying to contact through administration. You know, it's even a special education teacher. Oftentimes they're looking for those types of services, someone to come in to talk to the group, to the class, to let them know about the transportation options. Great suggestion. That's something that has been very successful in transition services for the students, but also for the parents, because they are getting that information from the school administration, so they kind of feel a little bit more sure about it. So yeah, that was one of the examples that we had received ahead of time. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to share? Any successes in their programs that might be different than what we've talked about today?
I will throw out there real quick too, Google Maps. Catherine was talking, I just went to Google Maps too, and that's another good tool that you can use for public transportation as well. So yeah,
absolutely.
Hi, I'm Terry Lamb. I'm located in Northern Virginia. I'm with the Dallas Area Transportation Association. We are trying to start a program. We're putting in a grant request, and then hopefully we'll get it and we'll start, where we're partnering with an organization that provides housing for developmentally disabled individuals. But we're also working on partnering with the ARC of Northern Virginia, which has an app where Keith talked about the flip photos. It's on an app, and they would build that progression for us. Together, we would get all the photos for each individual, would get their own special set of pictures on their phone, and they can follow it through, so they can watch it before they go. If they're out there, they can watch it as they go. We'll have, our plan is to have kind of some generic pictures that everybody will use. I'm sticking your card on the Metro Pay button will be the same for everyone, but maybe the sign of where you're going in the Metro will be different. So they'll be personalized, and we'll have a library of pictures. We're still putting in the grant. Hopefully we'll get the grant and then we can actually implement, but that's kind of where we are on this topic.
Oh, wow. Do you know what the app is called, Terry, where they shared the photos or have personalized?
I don't know the name of the app, but the ARC, which is a national organization, we just work with the local one. It's something they developed, and right now they're kind of trailed out of the first iteration and they're testing the second iteration. So I haven't actually seen the new one yet because they're doing the final testing. But from what I hear, it's an amazing thing. And like the example they showed us was teaching someone how to make oatmeal step by step through the pictures, or you can put these little mini videos in there also.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful?
Note to check up on that. I'm in note to check up on that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and
That
all
would
those
be a
tools,
great tool.
all those tools are universal. So not only will they help people with disabilities, but they can help anybody, you know, on anything, on how to learn anything. So yeah, that's one thing I noticed when we were at Project Search at the Business, is that we were coming up with tools like picture tools for worksite modalities on how to do a job task and things like that. And then the managers and directors and nurses were all like, well, we need that just to train our own staff. So it's once people start seeing things, people start thinking different ways, and they're like, wow, the things you do for people with disabilities could be universal. It's universal for anybody. So I think that's pretty exciting.
That is. And that's Northern Virginia is a very, very busy area. Not far from where Tamara is. I am in Virginia too. So it is, I would think, very overwhelming. It's overwhelming for me, and I'm in transportation, to try to use public transit in Northern Virginia. So I could only imagine what it would be like for the younger adults to do that. But I think we're finding more and more younger adults are using public transportation, especially in the cities.
I just wanted to point out in the chat that Allison had said that one of their local support cooperatives is using an app called Wayfinder, which sounds like another similar technology.
I've used Wayfinder, and it's a great tool as well. That's through Able Links technology out of Colorado Springs. Great tool, and they're actually now into the AI vehicles for people with disabilities. So that's kind of cool. They're in that starting process, so that's exciting. Yeah.
And Keith, when you're riding one-on-one, doing your travel training, you know, and I assume that you mostly do this on a fixed route. Is that kind of what do you show them? Do they have the pull button to stop the bus, or do they have to have the fixed route stops? Just wondering, or do they have the announcements, their stop announcements on those buses that you train on?
Today, our buses are they're all equipped with wheelchair lifts, and they're all equipped now with voice and a marquee that grants the stops, as long as it's working. And then I train everybody the cord that's on the bus and any public transportation buses, the cord that runs across the top, when to pull the cord before you get to your stop. So that's all part of their training. I've actually got pictures where I actually show the picture of somebody pulling the cord. I had an individual that utilized the wheelchair, and due to his disability, he could not reach the cord. Now, some of our newer buses now have a button on the side of the seat, or the side of where the wheelchairs may go at the front of the bus. So now he can actually be more independent, because now he can just push the button. It's a red button. And I've noticed those when I've traveled on other public transportations too, how more and more of the newer buses now are becoming more equipped to accommodate individuals who may have reaching problems. They can't reach the cord. So that's exciting. That's exciting. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I noticed in the chat, Martin from OCTA had a suggestion of a device. Do you want to talk about that, or we can direct people to read in the chat there. I don't know if Martin's still around.
Yeah, hi.
Awesome.
Hi. Good
Thanks.
afternoon, everyone. No, it's just a quick sample that we're just starting this year. Actually, with our contractor, they've purchased this set of headphones, and it's a lot easier to use on a bus, which is quite noisy and difficult to explain to everyone if you're just standing at the front and you've got like 5 or 6 trainees. So this device is good for that setting. It's also good for diverse languages because you can speak with one like in English, and then you can have a translator on another microphone that can translate back. So that's a good diverse language that we're trying to incorporate into our training. But yeah, COVID-19, although it was a hardship for many, we found that, through interactive Zoom displays, we can enhance our workshops. So it's a good way of getting in, and we can tackle 2 or 3 classroom workshops in the same day with working with different teachers. So it's a good way to provide that practicum with a trip of the day afterwards, which is good as well. It's, as Keith was saying, it's not quite the one-on-one, but it does give you that teamwork and collaboration.
Right. Something is better than nothing, right, Martin?
Yes, for sure.
And
giving them that confidence. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's great. And also, if you're in a classroom setting or know individuals, virtual reality is a huge piece with the, the visuals and the virtual reality that we're really starting to use here at Easterseals Crossroads for employment, for career exploration, which you could also probably do for public transportation and just as a younger age for individuals, maybe, or for even families, for the aging per se. That might be a good stepping stone to start getting into that discussion. Just have that virtual reality piece without really leaving any place that's, if they feel safer in a, in that environment, in their home or in a classroom setting, just to utilize virtual reality as a tool as well.
That's definitely one way to get young people interested in training, isn't it? And then, and with each, with all outreach, no matter where it is, you have different approaches to your outreach. You have an approach to if you're going to a senior center, or an approach if you're just going to set up at a library. But when you're trying to get younger adults interested, does anybody have any creative or out of the box type of approaches or marketing items that they use to catch the interest of the younger adults? Because a lot of younger adults think public transit, they don't want to use it. And so, but once one starts, they can, they'll all jump on. And once they realize that it could give them the independence of being able to work or go to a college, they're oftentimes a little bit more open to it. So I was just wondering if anybody had any ideas that they wanted to share.
Well, I know when I was utilizing the Wayfinder app that I think Martin was discussing, one of the things I did was to make it fun and interactive for the individual was to make it a game, kind of like what Bumblebees, that's my age, but anyways, when we're out driving around, find this picture of this building or this business. And so I made it a game for them, and that became interactive between them and myself, and they had to look, they had to pay attention. So that was actually fun, and they enjoyed that too. So I turned learning into a game. They learned, they had fun. So that was a win-win in that situation as well.
Like a scavenger hunt kind of.
Yeah, there you go. That would be the better word.
That's a great idea. If you do have like a class trip that you could add to that element of, to get them kind of interacting with each other. I do think that, Keith, I think that your, one of the points that you made was introducing a driver to your trainee. And I mentioned that we all know our drivers are very caring. They care a lot about our riders, and they kind of look out for them. And so have you found that the drivers have, once the training is done and once you're kind of they're on their own, do you find that the drivers are still helping and teaching and educating those riders on how to use the bus system?
Yeah, definitely. I've know that sometimes there's a detour, for construction or accidents or things like that. And I was a little concerned about an individual and figured out, okay, this is a good problem-solving opportunity. But I know that he also took the same route every day in the morning and back home. And we spent extensive amount of time training. And he problem solved that. But I also know the bus driver made sure that they knew exactly where he needed to get off as well. So they were there to help facilitate and to make sure that the individual got off the bus, even though it got back on route track, on the right track after the detour. But they just are there to help make sure they problem solve as well. And our bus drivers, they appreciate what people do in travel training with people with disabilities or the aging or anybody. Many a times when you're out here working with individuals, like I said, they get to know who you are, and they will actually thank you for your service, because it is a service. We're all giving a service, and when it's really nice when the bus drivers acknowledge the fact that what you're doing is bettering the individual's life, and they take that and they appreciate it. So yeah, they're out there. They're out there, all common good. That happened yesterday on a bus, just with an individual. The bus driver was really interested on what he was doing and where we were going and what was the reason behind the trip. So yeah.
Yeah, our front line always there to help, to support us too. Go ahead.
Michelle in the chat listed a few other ideas. I can read them, or Michelle can unmute and say them.
Sure, I'm here. So I do more group travel training than I do individuals. And I know that games make things definitely more fun, and they like to win candy or even, other giveaways that we have, pens, or we have sunglasses now that are fun. And then we also give away some free ride coupons, and those are motivating for people. I actually went to a college thing today, and I have a little wheel that they get to spin for a prize, and one girl won a ride coupon. She wasn't very excited about it, but her friend also won one, and her friend was super excited, and they were going to go ride together. So that's some things that I have experience with. And then also on the scavenger hunt. So there's a local college here that uses the Goose Chase app for scavenger hunts, if you want to check that out.
Thank you.
Those are all great ideas.
And Martin put a few things in the chat again. You're still here, Martin?
Yes, yeah, I am. No, I just wanted to, with our workshops, we like to have an interactive PowerPoint, because sometimes PowerPoint can be a little static. So we've incorporated some moving GIFs which show them how to slide. I think someone mentioned before how to pay your fare, how to use your ticket at the coin box, the cash dispenser, and then we have one with pulling that Keith mentioned, how to pull the cord. So it's a moving GIF on a PowerPoint, which adds to the presentation and just gets some visual display rather than having to actually be on the bus and see how to do it.
And are those GIFs available for other people to use, or did you develop them?
We just did it ourselves. So that's my hand right there. But we went on a bus. There was two of us. One took the videos, and then he incorporated it into a GIF. I'm not sure what software he used, but I think they're easily accessible online to transfer a video to a GIF, and then you put that on the PowerPoint.
Nice.
So, yeah.
These are all great ideas.
And I will add, when I am out travel training, I always try to get down, take everyone through the main hub, the transit center,
Oh, yes.
because that's where they got to go to buy bus passes. If need be, they can do it online and do an account, but a lot of our individuals in the inner city, they tend to buy them as they need them or a monthly bus pass. So I always make sure that we go to the transit center, they know where to go to buy bus passes, or if they would lose their ID, where to go get a new ID, and things like that, just so they're more prepared. And when that does happen, they lose ID, they don't have to call me. They know what to do.
Right. Well, you know, now so many areas are, introducing microtransit, which is also an awesome service that would be, I feel like would probably be very appealing to younger adults. So I, just want to remind everybody that if you have that service to offer, don't forget to include that in your training for the younger adults, because they, anything to do with an app, I'm sure that they would be open to trying it. Also, I would recommend possibly looking at school fairs, open houses, college job fairs. A lot of times high schools will offer job fairs in the spring, and you can set up a table to offer them information on how to get to and from work. If you have a local community college or a college nearby, don't hesitate to stop in and talk to them about how they could provide their students free rides to and from school. That's also it's a way to boost your ridership, but also it's a way to have the students, especially those that don't drive, offer them the ability to be independent, traveling back and forth independently. So does anybody else have anything to add? Thank you guys so much for all of the great suggestions in the chat. And we're going to be putting a survey link into the chat for you guys to please complete for us. It's a quick survey. It doesn't take long. We'd appreciate it if you could let us know how we did today. This is a new format for us, and we're hoping to be able to continue doing things like this. And we really appreciate you guys sharing your information. Martin, Michelle, Tamara, Terry, all of these were great ideas. Great ideas.
There was one other comment earlier, and I think the person is gone. Stephanie Davis said when we were talking about partnerships that they partner with looks like Oklahoma City Public Schools to do something similar called Hall Pass, HAUL Pass, as well as partnering with Head Start to use public buses to take younger students on field trips in districts where bus services aren't available.
Great ideas.
I also saw a hand raise momentarily there. Anyone else has anything to share?
That was me. I was just wondering if possible, I heard a lot of different apps and technology we're using, other people are using. Is there any way we could get a list of that or something of that sort?
I was writing them down. I could certainly try to do that. Also, we're going to be putting a recording of this again on the website. Hopefully have that in the next few days. So if I forgot something or if I missed one, I could definitely try to get a list of those apps out to all of the attendees as a follow-up.
Thank you so much. That would be great.
Okay, guys. So again, we appreciate you all coming. Keith, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your knowledge and your tips and tricks in travel training. We really do appreciate it. For more information, I'll slip back to here is Keith's email address. Anybody that has any questions, he has welcomed you all to email him if you have any questions for him. And here is the NADTC contact information. If you should have any questions about this particular event, or if you have any TA needs in the future, please don't hesitate to call us. You can follow us on social media, and please sign up for our monthly e-alerts if you haven't already. And you can do that by visiting our website at www.nadtc.org. And I want to thank everybody for attending, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.